So we'll start off by talking about strategies you can leverage to increase your income if this is a goal you have for yourself. Number one strategy, the low-hanging fruit, is that you pursue or ask for a raise at work at your job. I personally have never gone to ask somebody for a raise at work or pursued a raise at work. But this is something a lot of people have done. And there are tons of videos and articles that you could access online that walk you through how to achieve this goal. Personally, I haven't done it, so I cannot speak to it. But if this is something that you feel like, yeah, I think I can pursue this, you might want to lean into finding those pieces of content from people who have done this before so that you can apply it for yourself. The next one is to change your industry. There are industries where the pay just would never be as good or where the opportunities just aren't that many. And so for some people, what they do is they decide that they want to change their industry, whether it's that they change their industry and go into tech, just go into a different industry where they can access higher pay based on the background that they have. It's a difference between someone who's a social security worker and decides they want to increase their income and then they move into consulting. They switch industries. So that's something that you can think of for yourself. The third one is that you upskill so that you can access higher paying opportunities within your industry. So for example, at your company, if you're someone that has a day job, there are people who are earning twice what you're earning. However, their skill sets might be very different than yours. So it's looking at your industry and looking at what positions or what kind of jobs are paying more in that industry and looking at the skills you have and asking yourself if you actually have the skill sets to access those jobs and those opportunities that are paying more. If you don't have the skill set, if you don't have like the knowledge set, then this means you need to up level when it comes to the skills that you have so that you can access those opportunities. A good example would be a marketing associate and a marketing manager. Those two roles get paid very differently. However, the skill sets needed for them are also different. So you could start to ask yourself, what are the skills that I need to step into a marketing manager role? And if you don't have those skill sets, the next question becomes, how do I get those skill sets? Where do I need to go to up level so that I can get those skills and step into, those roles or those opportunities that pay more? The next option is to change jobs. So sometimes, and this is an advice I've gotten from people who work in corporate, is that it's a lot more difficult to increase your pay if you're trying to move up in a company, right? Versus if you're moving from that company to another one, you get the opportunity to negotiate way higher pay. So that's something that you can really think about is what are the other opportunities that you can access in your industry, but outside of your company, outside of where you're working, because you're more likely to earn more when you transition to another company. That's like a channel a lot of people are using to increase their income, which is why more and more people are talking about leaving jobs faster. So within like 5 years versus staying in a job for 20 years, hoping that you're going to increase your income doing this. Now, I personally don't have a lot of solid information for this. I know that the people close to me who have done this have been able to do this successfully and have increased their income dramatically. However, I'm sure that there are lots of people online that you can access to figure out exactly how they've been able to change jobs and negotiate higher pay. The next strategy that you could use is to have multiple jobs. This is one that I've seen people very close to me do, where they have, 2-3 jobs in a similar field. So a social media manager would have 3 social media manager jobs in a similar field. Maybe they would even have their own small team who they outsource things to using freelance platforms. But at the end of the day, when it comes to company meetings, who exactly is responsible for what, they are the ones responsible. So let's say you're earning 65K in one company and another in another. That money comes up to a lot more versus if you were just working one job. The next strategy that you could use to increase your income is to create a side hustle. Now, this is very different than if you had 3 jobs. In this case, you might have a side hustle that doesn't bring in as much money as your day job, but it brings in something that you can leverage to, grow your investing, grow your savings, things like that, pay off some of your debt, right? So you have let's say you have a day job that pays you $5,000 a month, and then you have a side hustle that brings in $1,500 a month. That $1,500 or $1,000 can be going into, growing your savings, student loan payoff, things like that, right? So this is how some people also drive to increase their income, to grow their income. This is something that you're looking into. There are lots of side hustle videos on the internet, people that are selling digital products on Etsy, people who are freelancers, people who are consultants. So these are like all of the different ways that you can leverage to, earn money. There are also people who are UGC creators. And I honestly think that a lot of people are earning like $2,000, $1,000, $5,000 from just their side hustle, and they're using that to supplement their day job income. And then the last strategy I would mention is changing your environment. When I'm talking about environment here, I'm talking about your geographical environment. So this could be where you live in a state, where you live in a country, the country in and of itself. In my own situation, it was the country that changed. For some people, it could be you're in the same country, but you're moving to a different state because that state has more opportunities, right? It could also be the same state, but you're moving to a different part of that state because that part of the state has more opportunities. I spoke to a lady at the state where I was living in before, North Carolina, and she said she had to move from Ohio to North Carolina because in North Carolina, specifically in Charlotte, North Carolina, people were willing to pay more even though she had fewer clients. So in her case, she had to move states while in the same country because this other state provided better opportunity for her to earn more than where she was in Ohio. For some people, it could be moving to a different part of the city for them to access those opportunities in that part of the city where they can earn more. So really think about your environment. Ask yourself, the job that you are, like, let's say you have a day job, right? Look at what you're being paid in the state that you're in and look at other states and ask yourself if it's the same thing. You might be getting paid $50K in one state, but in another state, that same job, people are getting paid $150,000. You also want to look at other things. The cost of living in that state is also something to really consider, and think of how you're going to cushion that if you want to change environment. But this is one of the really big ways people have been able to drastically grow their income, especially people who live in third world countries. So you might be living in a country where you're really smart. So you have the smarts, you have the skills, you're hardworking, you're all of those things. However, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, in that particular country, people like you are not appreciated. People like you are not paid what they deserve. However, if you move to another country, that becomes a different conversation. So which of this did I leverage? Which of this was what helped me to make that huge jump when it came to my income? For me, first, there was a change of environment. Second, there was an upskilling, up-knowledging. That's something that's even a word, right? And third, there was an industry move. So first, I think would have to be upskilling because it started when I decided to pursue an MBA, right? An MBA would involve more knowledge. So I had more knowledge to get. There were a couple of skills I didn't have before that I had to acquire. So the MBA equipped me with those skills, the knowledge base. So that was the first one, is I had to upskill, I had to up knowledge for me to even step into the opportunities that would be provided for me. I took that opportunity. And then the second one was changing environment. I had to move from Nigeria to the US, right? In these countries, the opportunities are very different and the pay vary significantly. The worth of the skills and knowledge that I had in Nigeria were very different in the US. And then by upskilling in the US and combining that with the skills and the knowledge that I already had, I was able to, build more room to access the opportunities within the US. So A, there was upskilling and up-knowledging. B, there was a change in environment. And the third one is a change in industry. For most of my background, I had already worked in, ed tech, I had worked in fashion, I had worked in retail, I had worked in food. So like all this different industry that I worked in. But in the US, one of the bigger paying industries, one of the many, because there are a couple of them, is the tech industry. And I really wanted to pursue marketing in tech. Okay, so I moved from retail right into the tech industry. So there's so many moves that I made. And now that I'm having this conversation, sometimes I tell people that I don't think I've had a lot of breathers since I got to the US, because it's been so many moves, so many changes for me. And it's true, like it's been a lot of changes. I've had to change, career. I've had to change industries. I've had to change environment. I had to upskill, right? So it's like back to back to back changes that I had to experience. And so yes, like these are the three things I believe I had to change for me to access the opportunity that this place provided. This doesn't mean I wasn't applying for marketing positions in like other industries, but most of my applications were mostly in tech, and I was blessed and lucky enough to land a really good role in a tech company. So this is how I was able to go from earning like way less to earning, 6 figures within a period of 2 years, is by doing those three things. If you're someone who's really thinking about increasing their income, all of the options that I mentioned are things that you can leverage to do that for yourself. So where exactly should you start? I would recommend that you start by asking yourself, which of these things make the most sense for you? Would it be upskilling? Would it be starting a side hustle? Would it be changing your environment? Like based on where you are, what really aligns most? What really makes the most sense for you? It could also be a combination of different things, but that's a conversation. You really need to just weigh where you are and weigh what makes sense for you. And then once you've done that, the next thing would be you need to find people who have increased their income doing the thing that you want to do. So for example, if I was thinking about upskilling so that I can access more opportunities in my own industry or even in a different industry, I would want to go and like, okay, what are the high paying skills in my industry? Let's say it's marketing, for example, and I know that digital marketing is a high paying skill, or a high paying role is product marketing. Or let's say it's consulting, for example, and I know that business consultants tend to make more money, or startup consultants, like whatever you find. The next question after that would be, who are the people who have, switched into this type of roles, who are making bank doing it, and what can I learn from them? How do I prep myself to be able to access that opportunity? Are there courses that I can take? Are there certifications I need to do? Like, what are the things that I need to do to prep me to access those opportunities? A key part of doing this is also like finding programs that not only give you the skill, but also like help you land the job, help you land the freelance opportunities. Because sometimes you could upskill, but then not know how to package yourself well enough in an interview or on a resume or on an application for you to land the opportunity. So you do need to have both the skill, but also someone teaching you how to pull what you have together, presented it to somebody, and like that becomes, oh my gosh, like you're a wonderful person for the role, or wonderful person to access an opportunity that we have. The next thing I would say, if you really want to pursue this, is really just listen to what advice, what instructions you're giving. A lot of people would ask advice, they get it, but they almost never follow it. I'm just realizing how hard it is for people to hear advice and follow advice. A lot of people they don't listen. Like, you ask for advice, you get it, but you don't implement what you're being told. Whatever you're being told, take that information and implement it as the person has taught you. And have patience with yourself, because this process is grueling. It's not easy. I can't tell you guys how many times I've cried, had mental breakdowns. You don't know, right? So, but just have patience with yourself and know that eventually it's gonna happen. And finally, be willing to put in the work and face your fears. While I have access to this opportunity, I can't tell you how much imposter syndrome is whooping my ass, how much anxiety is whooping my ass, like self-doubt. Like, it's almost like for every time that you level up, all of these guys need to have a meeting about you. Like, imposter syndrome calls up self-doubt and fear and anxiety, and they're like, hey, we need to go, say hi to this person. Every single time we need to go pay them a visit. It's not fun. It's really not. But it's like a process that you have to get through to finally like level up in the way that you want to level up in. The point I'm trying to make is like, be willing to be patient, but also be willing to work really, really hard to get where you're trying to go. I really hope this video has been super helpful for you if you're thinking about increasing your income. I know it's not an easy journey. I'm also on this journey myself because we are far from where we want to be financially, but we're getting there. If you haven't yet, please give the video a thumbs up so that other people will find it, and subscribe. All of the content here is designed to help you achieve your goals, and I'm just sharing the things that I'm learning and the things that I'm doing as I'm working towards my goal myself. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.